What's going on, guys? So I finally have the entry-level model of the Galaxy S series, which is the S25. I'm here to do my first impressions and unboxing and let you guys know more about this device. So without further ado, a word from our sponsor, Nobody. On the table here, I do have the S22 and the S24. I would say people that are on this device, you can probably get one more year, probably two more with the S22. S24, I'll show you guys how similar the devices are. But yeah, let's go ahead and move these over to the side and focus on the S. Why am I doing this? Why am I S25? All right, we got to give credit where credit is due. Why am I trying to slide this knife into it? This product was made in Korea. If I'm not mistaken, the Ultra is usually made in Vietnam, but the regular S series and the Plus are made in Korea. And this color, I forgot what I got. Seems to be more of like a gray. I'd say it's very similar to what I have on the Ultra series. Look at that fingerprint magnet, by the way. Let's go ahead and take this out. Much easier than the S25 Ultra. Don't need this little sticker on the back either. All right, now to do the smell test. You know what this smells like? Just imagine walking through a meadow and the only thing that you see is nothing. So there's about a minute left in the smart switch, so I'm gonna let that do its thing. Samsung did give some credits whenever I did like the pre-order, so I got some cases because that was the only thing that was really worth me buying with the credits. As you guys know, I'm not really a case channel or a case person, but I just want to see what Samsung was offering. So let's just see where these are made. So these are made in China, okay? And these are both $55. Do you guys see that? $55. This is really what people buy. And whatever I pick is the one that I get. Let's do this one. Wow. Okay, so the device has been transferred. Ooh, okay. Okay. Look at that. Do you see that little like accent ring around the camera? That's actually kind of nice. I like that. Designed by Samsung, made in China. Don't get fooled. Fits in pretty nice. Guys, I don't know. Cases are just not for me. I mean, I will admit it looks nice. Ooh, it actually doesn't feel that great. It doesn't feel like $55, to be honest. It feels like 10 bucks. That's gracious. I'd say like, ooh, that's actually a pretty nice touch right here. Okay. You go from 10 bucks to $10.50. So I just want to preface this by saying this isn't a deep dive comparison. I just want to show you guys real quick what are some differences between the models if you are coming from an older device. Let me go ahead and take this case off, by the way. Let's go ahead and do a quick thank you for interrupting the entire video. So I want to do a really quick comparison. Like I said, I'll have a more deeper dive comparison between all three devices. But just going over the build quality real quick, the S25 is an all aluminum build, and that is the same for the S24 and even the S22. But you'll notice when it comes to the overall design, the S22 had a bit of a shy camera, but as the years have gone on, you'll see that Samsung is being a little bit more pronounced and more, I guess, accepting of what their design is when it comes to their identity. The other thing is, like I said, they're all aluminum, very similar finish to the previous generation. You'll notice that the 5G antenna band is more prominent on the upper side of the device. There are two, I believe these are microphone holes. I'll have it on the screen somewhere if I'm wrong. Then on the right hand side, everything is pretty much the same. You'll see the 5G antenna band is on the side on the S24. Then you see on the bottom here, not much has really changed. Now, if I go to pick up the S22, you'll notice a lot more changes are going to be seen. So there's only one dot instead of two. On the right-hand side, pretty much the same. I actually love the finish on the S22. Much more shiny, feels a little bit more premium, also a little bit heavier as well. The speaker grill is also a little bit different. So instead of these individual notches, you just have this slight slant hole. So before I go over to the front displays, I do want to mention that the back sides are all glass. It's Gorilla Victus Plus on the S22, but for the S24 and S25, they are both the Gorilla Victus 2. Now, when it comes to the overall displays, they all do feature always on display. And I believe on this one, I just have to tap to show. So yeah, They all feature always on display, but as you can see through the iterations and generations, that the always on display is becoming more pronounced, more defined, becoming more like, hate to say it, iPhone. But there's just more that you can do with the always on display on the later versions, especially the S24 and above. So the S22 only has a measly 1300 peak brightness, but the S24 and S25 have the same, which is 26, so it's double of what we have on the S22. And then I would say the last defining thing that I want to talk about is the actual hardware itself. So these are equipped with 8 gigabytes of RAM. There are configurations on the S24 where you can get it with 12. By default on the S25 series, they all come with 12 gigabytes, just because I guess a lot of the justification is a lot of the AI local processing that you can do. The last thing that I want to touch on is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and then Snapdragon 8 Elite. All different chips, and there are different versions of the S22 where you'll actually get Samsung's own chip instead of Qualcomm's and Snapdragon's, so be cognizant of that if you end up picking this up used or if you are using this device. These are all the Snapdragon variants. Obviously, the Snapdragon 8 Elite is the best out of the bunch. I'd still say the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is more than capable. Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, at times you can feel it lag a bit, but once the device is going, it's not that bad. All right, so now let me slide this device out the way and focus more on these two. Actually, this is a first impression unboxing on the S25, so let's just focus on the S25. All right, S25 things, let's go ahead and just look at the settings. So going over to display here, a lot of things should have carried over, so I am still using the natural setting. I know Samsung likes to set it to vivid, more of a natural guy myself. My screen timeout, only have it set to 10 minutes simply because this is an unboxing first impressions. And then everything else seems to be pretty much the same, okay? Let's check out the brightness. That does get pretty bright. I'm just going to set that back. But, you know, if you do set that off, you can actually do extra brightness, and it does crank up to that close peak brightness that is advertised. So I'm actually going to leave that on just for the sake of the HDR test that we will do in a second here. So let's go ahead and just throw on an HDR video. Let's go ahead and skip that. So the brightness is cranked to max, and we'll set the quality to 4K 60. Go ahead and widen this out. And need I say more? All right, just so you guys can see a bit of the viewing angle, I'm just going to tilt it in all 4 directions. So go ahead to tilt it up. That is pretty good. That is amazing. All right, now we're gonna go left. Look how much you guys can see. That's crazy. That is OLED at its finest. That is some crazy viewing angles. So you guys already know how I feel about OLED, and I can do my whole spiel, but long story short, it's Samsung. If you guys don't know, Samsung is actually a manufacturer of displays, so want to say they probably saved the best for themselves, maybe not so much their competitors, but it's an OLED display. It looks amazing. As you can see, the viewing angles, it's pretty much consistent throughout. I would suspect most people who are getting this phone are upgrading from another device that's already OLED, so I'd say it's not anything that you aren't familiar with. Maybe it's just brighter than what you have if you are coming from something like the S22, but it's an amazing display. It's a Samsung display. This is a natural, so if you really want that color saturation for things to look even richer, switch this over to vivid mode and you're going to have a treat with it. But let's go ahead and test out the speaker. And well, Gemini decided to hop up, so let's go ahead and see what Gemini's doing.
Chatting whenever you're ready.
So I'm a YouTube channel and I'm sponsored by nobody, and whenever I reach out to companies, they just don't respond. How can I fix that issue so I can actually get review samples?
Okay, so it sounds like you're having trouble getting companies to notice your YouTube channel and send you review samples. That's totally understandable.
What's going on, guys? So I have 2 smartphones for my comparison video, and there's one in particular that on paper is a clear winner in almost every category, but does that make it the best Android experience in early 2025? Mmm. 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 If one day you just up and leave. I would say that the speakers are good. They're S series speakers. They're not ultra speakers by any means. I'd say they're pretty comparable to what's on the S24. I would say they actually get plenty loud. I wouldn't crank it up to max volume though. I'd probably leave it like 2 notches down and it seems fine. Euphoria. Jesus, Kendrick, relax. Another nice touch though is if I were to like play music, go to lock screen, show off some capabilities of the AI features, or you know, the new island down here. You know, if you're playing music, and I do like how this is integrated with YouTube Music, unlike the OnePlus device, you are able to do play, pause, swipe through it, get your now briefing. I have my own thoughts about that. But yeah, I'd say pretty good in terms of the speakers. Once again, 2 notches below, you should be fine. Let's go ahead and test out the cameras though. So this is the side shot using the selfie camera. Once again, I believe it has remained exactly the same as last generation. Nothing too crazy. And going over to the portrait shot, I'd say the portrait's pretty good. I don't know why my mouth is open. I'd say a little aggressive around the hair, but I don't think anyone's going to be doing that much of nitpicking. Once you get more photos outside, it'll be a little bit more realistic. But overall, pretty good quality when it comes to Samsung devices using the front-facing selfie cam, which I think a lot of people are going to be using. Moving over to the ultra-wide lens, once again, pretty much has remained the same. A little bit blurry here. Wasn't expecting that too much. Maybe on the Ultra series, keep in mind it's like an extra, what, $400, $500 going up to that premium. I'd say I'm pretty much satisfied with this. You're probably not going to be taking ultra-wide shots of items so close. It's going to be more of capturing things around the actual subject itself. So I'd say please stay tuned for my day in the life and review of the S25 to see how the ultra-wide stands up. Going over to the 1x, this is where you see it improve a lot of detail being retained whenever I zoom in here. But for some reason, up here on the top right, bit of blurriness. I'm not sure what's going on there, but everything else on this seems pretty sharp. Going over to the 2x, 2x seems to be doing a pretty good job. As you can see, it's not blurry where it was in the same spot. All the detail is pretty much retained in its sharpness. Even my hands as well in the background, you can see like the individual ridges in my palm, so good job there. And then 3x, which I was also still pretty impressed with, everything seems to be pretty much super sharp, no real distortion or blurriness, and pretty good. But once again, I don't really think a lot of people are going to be using 3x on items so close. You'd really use the ultra wide and then zoom in a little bit more to get that macro shot. But in terms of zoom, if you want to do a zoom in on a product super close, this is pretty good. Right now to check out the front facing camera, and we do have 4K up to 60, but let's go ahead and do a test. So this is the front facing camera on the S25. You guys let me know how it looks and sounds. I know people in my S25 Ultra were a little bit disappointed in the front facing camera, so you guys let me know if the S25 has any better luck. Also, people keep asking me to take this off, but trust me, it's not coming off. All right, so this is the back camera on the S25, and this is actually my 3rd time trying to record this, and so my arm is pretty tired, so if I progressively drop down, I apologize, but once again, you guys let me know how it looks and sounds compared to the front-facing camera. Once again, I don't think the cameras have changed at all on the S25. I'd say it's really just processing at this point if you want to know what the difference is between the S24 and S25. Comparatively speaking to the S22, I'd say you could probably tell a difference. Go check my video out if you want to see what that's like. But in more real-world scenarios, I'd say get subscribed if you want to check out my day in the life and review once I actually start taking more content with this S25. I'm out of breath, my arm hurts, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down. You guys let me know how it looks and sounds. So S25 is a product that starts at a low price of $800. And you can see that it already has that same thing that I was talking about with the Ultra series. I actually am going to be returning my Galaxy S25 Ultra, and I'm probably going to return this too because I'm not a fan of this color and these fingerprints being just littered everywhere on the device. If you have a case, once again, probably not going to matter for you too much, but I don't rock a case, and this back glass, this finish, I don't know how this got past Samsung's design team. This is disgusting. People might say like, oh, your hands are dirty. I wash my hands before I do my reviews, and this is just the nature of having this finish on the back of this device. You guys who own this device, if you share that same sentiment with me or if you have that same experience, please let me know down in the comments below. If I'm crazy, talk about this now briefing thing, because someone did leave a comment saying you have to use it for a bit for it to actually tailor and understand what you want. I have all my data here on the S25 Ultra, have been using it for, I don't even know, I think probably close to a week at this point. If that's not enough time, pretty useless assistant. But yeah, the now briefing is literally the same thing. It literally just shows my calendar and my weather in one screen. That's it. Like, is that really necessary to have? Let's go ahead. So come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Nothing. 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 It's actually showing nothing, and I'm not putting on YouTube Shorts. Nice AI feature, by the way, Samsung. And before people say, oh, it's because you're not signed to a Samsung account. It's right there. Oh, you don't have all the AI stuff turned on. It's on. So what are my overall first impressions of the S25? Well, I would say from like a product standpoint, it's obviously nice to get hardware improvements in terms of performance. It just helps with the longevity of the device. But when it comes to the software, this also is running One UI 7 versus One UI 6.1, I think, on the S25 and even the S22. But the thing that I feel that Samsung is kind of going at, and I don't think this is actually a fault to Samsung at any point, I think this goes for most smartphone manufacturers, is that we really have hit the peak when it comes to like true hardware, crazy performance gains year after year. Obviously with the Snapdragon Gen series and even the Elite series now, we have seen some pretty nice improvements, but consumers don't really care about performance. We care more about the software, the experience, and things like that. And I think Samsung building One UI 7 from the ground up from their claims, I think that's them kind of starting fresh. I do like One UI 7 compared to the previous generation, but it really is going to be a testament of time to see if Samsung can consistently roll out updates, because if your software isn't solid, it doesn't matter how good your hardware is. The software is what people interact with, not the chip itself. So if they can do that, I think the S25 is a pretty good pickup. If you have the S24, I'd say don't even bat an eye. You're going to get an update eventually. Don't get me started on Android schedule when it comes to software updates. They are terrible compared to Apple, to say it kindly. But long story short, it's $800. If there's promos from your characters, if you want to trade up, Samsung has pretty good deals. Check out my links below. I'm not telling you to get the device. I'm just saying if you do plan on getting the device, my links are there. With that being said, I would say S25 is a mixed feelings is the best way to put it. It's Samsung. I do have some sentiment around them, not negative by any means. It's just, you know, from a company that really strives on being innovative, being the competitor to Apple. It just seems like they have kind of settled, unlike OnePlus, who doesn't seem to settle. Don't know if I'm allowed to say competitors in my first impressions, but hey, I'm not getting sent the device, so I can say what I want. So with that being said, guys, hopefully you enjoy my first impressions and unboxing of the S25. If there's more videos you want me to do specifically with this device, let me know down in the comments below. And as always, guys, much love. What's going on, guys? So someone left a comment saying, when am I going to be doing my unboxing and first impressions on the Galaxy S25? And I'm here to say, I need to move the camera up just a smidge. Please don't mess up the angle. It's like sort of off, whatever. And when am I reviewing the base Galaxy S25? What's going on, guys? So this is, why do I always lose my train of thought? Can I think? That is what's messing it up. What the heck? What's going on, I got a burp. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. What's going on, guys? So someone left a comment on my earlier video saying, when am I going to be reviewing the Galaxy Base 25 Ultra? The Base 25, what am I even saying? What's going on, guys? So my Galaxy S25 finally came in, and I'm here to tell you my thoughts and first impressions on the device. I should not look at it when I throw it. It needs to be, I give up. I actually just give up. Take 675,000.